Okay, so hello everybody, welcome back. Good afternoon, guys. Just let me check if I'm live and then we'll get started. Okay, perfect. So I'm live. Let's get started, right? Good afternoon, guys. Welcome back to the new session on front-end playlist. So this is basically JavaScript interview questions, right? And we have already done HTML, CSS interview questions, and we have seen or completed the HTML and CSS portions, right? We have understood what all basic topics or advanced topics are required to crack an interview in HTML and CSS, and we have also seen the advanced topics of JS as well, right? There are 4 parts which we have done in advanced JavaScript, and the basics of JavaScript is already covered. And now we are here with JavaScript interview questions, in which we are trying to understand what are the different questions which will be asked in an interview of a fresher or an experienced person. And yeah, that's what we are going to discuss. And also we'll try to see the concepts which we have not learned. We'll try to do that, and we'll try to learn that in this session, right? Now, before starting this particular session, I should inform you about yesterday's session, because yesterday night I took 2 sessions on interview preparations, tips and tricks, which is not of this playlist, right? This playlist is of front end, but from my a different playlist is there in this channel, which is named as interview preparations. If you check out the channel of CodeBeyond, if you go to the playlist, you'll be able to find that playlist with where there are 2 videos. One is tips and tricks part 1, and one is tips and tricks part 2. So please go ahead and watch that, because if you're looking for an interview, if you're attending an interview, it'll be really good for you, because those sessions will give you a full idea, like what questions is asked and how you need to answer those, and what is the myth about all these companies and startups, and which company should you go and you should not join. Those all things have been discussed there, right? So if you have not watched it, maybe because of any reasons, then go ahead and please watch it. Okay. So if you guys are new here and you do not know what is happening, then let me just tell you about it. This is CodeBeyond by Unacademy, the YouTube channel, in which we are providing free course content on different domains of IT. So I am covering front-end playlist, and we are here with covering all the different languages and frameworks by which, if anybody can learn, they can go ahead and give an interview so that they can get a job, right? That's what we are doing here. And I've already completed HTML, CSS and JavaScript. It's just that we are ending with JavaScript, completing some interview questions and completing some of the left out topics which you have already told me to take. So that's what I'm doing here. Now, if you do not know about me, then let me introduce myself. My name is Ritwik Raj, and I'm a corporate trainer. I have also worked as a subject matter expert and research analyst in most of the tech companies. I have 3+ years of teaching experience, and I've trained graduates and corporate employees from Edison and Capgemini. I've trained more than 30K students till now. It is increasing day by day. The subjects which I take is mostly into front-end development, back-end languages, and databases, and mostly the tips and tricks on how to crack interviews and all, right? That's what is my introduction. Just let me check if my voice is audible. Okay, perfect. Everything is fine. So give me a hi or give me a thumbs up if you guys are watching. If my students are already there, then please give me a thumbs up so that I'll be able to know that you guys are present and you guys are watching the session. Okay. Now I have a very good news for you, that you can use my code RIT10 to get a free level sample test paper. Now, if you do not know what is level, then don't worry. By just 1 minute, I'm going to tell you about it, right? And if you have idea about a level, then you must be knowing that you have to give an actual test. So for preparation of that, we are giving up a free sample test paper so that you get an idea of what kind of questions will be asked in the level and what kind of pattern questions can be asked in the actual test, right? So that you can score more number of marks and get eligible for the profile. Now, if somebody who is not knowing what is Relevel, then let me introduce it to you. So Relevel is a product by Unacademy. Now, what its main reason to come up is basically 2 main reasons. The first main reason is maybe there are so many students who are doing BSc or BCA or BCom, and they want to jump into IT field, but they have the skills, they have the talent, but still when they are applying to 50-60 companies, they are not being able to get any callback or get any callback for interviews or getting hired, right? The main reason behind this is that company look out for candidates who have done engineering, right? But it doesn't matter, right? Because if you have the skills, you should be placed. And also the main reason here is that if you are a BE graduate, then also if you are from top you are from tier 3 colleges, many MNC companies ignore them because they want the best of the students, and the best of the students they can get from tier 2 and tier 1. But it's not like in tier 3 college students are not there and they are not skilled enough, right? So these are the reasons why many of the graduates are not being able to get any chance or opportunity to get interviewed or getting hired, right? That's why Relevel came into picture. It is India's first touch sharing platform by Unacademy, which is helping job seekers find their dream jobs on the basis of skill and talent. So only on the basis of skill and talent, we are going to find out whether you are eligible for any particular interview or not. How? You have to just give a free test. Now this free test is of 1,000 marks. So if you score above 700, you'll be eligible for the profile. That profile will be shared with all of our client companies. Over 50 plus companies, including top startups and unicorns, are there with us, which provides 1,000 plus job positions across business development, front-end development, back-end development. So there are a huge opportunity that you can get placed here, you can get interviewed. Okay, so with Relevel, you are in a unique position to invite interest from companies instead of hunting for opportunities on your own. Correct? Now these are some things related to Relevel. These are some benefits which I have talked about. But how do you actually register? If you want to register for yourself, then basically there's a link given in the description, the video description. If you find, there's a link given, and in the link, when you click on that, you'll be able to get inside Relevel.com, where you have to register your mobile number. So once you do that, you have to get an OTP, and after that you'll get into this page in which it will ask to select the test of your choice. So suppose you are very good in front-end development test, so go ahead and select that, and then you have to choose a slot. So you have to book a slot when you want to give the level test. Slots are limited, so I suggest you to book it fast. Okay, now after that, you have to fill in the details for the admit card. So full name, email ID, birth year, current state, and the gender. And after that, here is the portion which is most important. You have to put down the coupon code, which is RIT10, and click on apply, and then click on create account. Once you do that, your account will be created with the sample paper on it. Suppose if you have missed out on giving the coupon code, your sample paper will not be there. So please make sure that you are using the coupon code RIT10. Okay. Now, once you get the sample paper, download this and get an idea which kind of questions will be asked in the actual test, and be really helpful for you, right? Now, if you have not done it yet, if you've not registered for a level till now, then go ahead and do it. If you've already done it, then all the best for the actual test. And if you are not ready for it, if you are thinking that, you know, I'm not skilled enough, and maybe this 1,000 marks I won't be able to achieve anything, I'm not ready enough, then go ahead and look at the playlist whichever is there in the CodeBeyond channel, because many of the educators are coming live with different domains, different knowledge, and they're sharing their own experience and knowledge, right? So go ahead and watch those sessions, which is on DSA, CP, Python, SQL, backend, frontend, everything is there. Try to upskill yourself, and then when you're ready, come back and then register for Relevel, right? So this is how you need to plan, and you need to get benefit from Relevel, right? And do not forget to use the coupon code. Also, you can join the Telegram channel, because in this Telegram channel, basically you'll get all the notifications and updates about all upcoming sessions, which particular educator is coming live at what time with what topic. All of the things will be updated here, right? And the Telegram channel link is also given in the description, so it will be good if you can just find it and click on it, right? And join. Also, please do subscribe to the YouTube channel, which is CodeBeyond, and hit the notification bell so that you get notifications in your YouTube app as well. And also please like and share the video, because more number of people will get to know this, and it is a free content. So most of the people will try to, get knowledge from these videos, right? So please do that as well. Now, hi Jitender, hi Imbraja, and hello everybody. So here we are going to understand JavaScript interview questions, as I've already told you, and questions will be basically the basics, intermediate, and advanced, just the way I used to do. So if you look at here, this is the main folder where we were doing all the programs and all, and I have already done some of the sessions on interview questions, right? Just let me find it. So these were the questions on HTML, right? We did this, and also we did one more, this one. right? So let me just close this. And these were the HTML questions where we learned about basic questions, intermediate and advanced, and these were the CSS questions where we learned about basic and intermediate and advanced, right? So these were the questions which we discussed in two of the sessions. If you have not seen this, go ahead and watch it, because this will really help you in your interviews, right? These are all such kind of questions which will be asked in an interview, in face-to-face or in virtual round. So it will really help you out. And today we are going to understand one more session we are going to do, in which we are going to understand JS questions, right? So let's just write here JS questions.html. Okay. So I'm just going to mention out all the questions which can be asked just like this. And we're going to discuss whether we have learned this or not. Okay. So let's begin. If you have any doubts, if you have any things, you can do ask me anytime in the live chat. Fine. Now, before starting with this, I must tell you that if you have not seen my earlier videos on all the basic concepts and all the advanced concepts of JavaScript, please go ahead and watch it, because it is doing well. The videos are explaining about each and everything very detailed manner. So if you have not watched what is hoisting, what is closure, what is strict mode, what is the other advanced JavaScript topics which I have taken, like event loop and all. If you have not seen that, go ahead and watch it, because it will be really useful for you. And such questions are also asked in interviews. So let's get started with basic questions first, and then we are going to move into the tougher questions. Okay. So first of all, the question can be asked about the data types, right? Because this is the most common thing which will be asked in any programming language. Let it be any language, any programming language, this question can be asked, like what are the data types in JavaScript. And most of the time people do get confused between different languages, and they try to just blabber when they go into the interview, because in your mind you have 4 or 5 languages which you know, and all 4 or 5 languages are having different data types. Okay, if you talk about C, they are having signed, unsigned, integers, but in Java there is nothing like that, right? In Python you don't have these things at all. You have something else, you have set, tuple and all. And then you have in JavaScript you have something else, right? So we have, but in all the programming languages we have something called as primitive types, right? And we do talk about this because in JavaScript we have mainly 5 kind of data types which we know. So first is a string, then we have number, we have null, we have undefined, and we have boolean. These are the main primitive data types which is there in the JavaScript data types. We have some more, but those are not considered to be the primitive data types. Those are different ones. But right now, if anybody is asking you what are the primitive data types or what are the data types in JavaScript, you need to just say about this. There is no int, or there is no float, or there is no something like that in JavaScript, because those are there in Java. So please make your answers very crisp and clean. You should not be blabbering. You should not be confused about all these confusing questions which get mixed with different programming languages. Hi Milind, sir, could you share those files with us for revision? The questions file, are you talking about this one? I'll share it in the Telegram channel. Okay, I'll just do one thing. Not only this, I was supposed to also put down the codes itself, not all these codes, but the projects which I created. So I'll do one thing. I'll create a Google Drive, not a GitHub and all, because many have problems with GitHub. Many beginners do not know how GitHub works. So I'll do one thing. I'll put down all these things in a sheet of, in a sheet, or make a PDF, and I'll put down in the Google Drive. Okay, I'll do that. Okay, let's get started. So these are the data types which you should be knowing when you are talking about data types. Now, please understand, when anybody is asking data types, they're not only want to ask data types. They will surely ask you about different things, like we have type of, right? What is type of? If somebody is asking, like, the interviewers can ask, if I want to find the type of this particular variable, how will you do it? So You have to just use this, right? Also, these questions can be asked whether your JavaScript is which kind of language, like what is it? Is it a synchronous or an asynchronous? So it is synchronous, okay? And also somebody can ask, like, when you are using data types in JavaScript, do you write the data types? Do you mention the data types? So no, we don't mention it, right? Because it is dynamic programming language. So we do not mention data types. We just write var. We just use keywords like var, let, or const, right? And then we write the variable name and then we initialize it. Okay. Now, how JavaScript engine is getting to know that which particular value you're writing? JavaScript browsers understand that which particular value you're writing, and it gets a vibe that, okay, this value is of number type or this value is of string type. So it does it on their own. That is why it is called as dynamic. Now, once it will give this answer, which is var, let, and const, the interviewer will ask you that what is the difference between var and let. Okay, first they'll ask this. Once they'll give the answer of this, they will ask you to do it practically. They will ask you that, can you show me how let and var is different? So in this case, you can just answer them very quickly that var can be redeclared, but let cannot be redeclared. Let cannot have the same variable redeclared again and again, but var can. Okay, so this is one of the main reasons. There are a lot of other reasons. You need to speak about all other reasons as well. And if they're trying to tell you to do it practically, please write a very small program and try to show them that how var and let is different. After that, they're going to surely ask you what is the difference between let and const. Right now, these are very similar. There's only one difference between let and const, that in let it works as a normal variable, but in const you cannot update the values. It's a constant value which you want to give, right? Otherwise, let and const is perfectly similar. Okay, there's no much difference. It's just that in const you cannot change the value or update the value. That's what it is. Here they will not ask you practical because const, very rarely we use it in our programs, right? So there is no questions will be asked here in this case. Now they'll stop here. Okay, they can't move further because you are not giving them any options to ask questions, right? See, when you're asking, when somebody is asking about data types, they moved into type of, then they moved about synchronous thing, and then they moved about dynamic and static variables, right? After that, when you said that this is dynamic and we use let const, then they spoke about let and const, right? After that, in your answer, do not include any particular word or topic, because if you will use any particular keyword or topic which is of JavaScript, they will jump to that question, right? So be sure that whatever you are saying, do not say those keywords or do not take those names which you do not have idea about. Let's say that in your answer you are just saying that there is one more functionality in JavaScript, that is map, filter, and reduce, but you do not have any idea what is map, filter. You just know that there is some concept of map, filter, and reduce, but you also know it, but you can't explain it because you have not done it earlier. You are very confused, you are in doubt whether I'm correct or not. So in those cases, do not take that name, because once you take those functions name or those functionalities name, interviewer will point it out and will ask questions based on that. So keep your answers very crisp and clean. Do not just blabber everything. Do not be overconfident about it. Hi Rahul. सर इस कोर्स का लेक्चर 36 प्राइवेट क्यों किया हुआ है? Okay, so there must be some reason behind it. I don't know why is it private yet, and I've asked the team to bring it back, and just wait for some time. But I'll give you a suggestion: if 36 is not there, do not go for 37, because 37 you have the second part of HTML table based layout. So do not do that, because both the sessions are about project. If 36 is not there, 37 you're not going to understand anything. So please skip 37. Once 36 will be back, I will update you about that in my live sessions, and then you can go ahead and do that 36 and 37. Again, if you're asking me that, some of the topics, if 36 and 37 is teaching me something and we will skip that part. No, 36 and 37 is just a project in which I've used table based layouts, so it's totally fine. You can skip that and you can move to the next topic. You will not be skipping any particular topic from any particular language. Okay. I will take your question, Amit. It's much bigger. Okay, I'm just going to take some questions from basic questions. Let me finish some at least 5 questions, and then I'm going to take some questions from the comments. Okay, keep on sending questions in comments. I will take up later on. Fine. Okay, now, so data types in JS. Now this is very easy. This is a very simple question which can be asked, but from one question you can be asked a lot of other questions as well. So please keep that thing in mind, right? The next question which can be asked here is about hosting. Now, why directly hosting? Because this is one of the most commonly asked interview question in JavaScript, right? And people do get confused here. Why do get confused here? Why they do get confused here? Here, the most important thing is that declaration moves to top, right? If any particular variable or if any particular function you're writing, you can declare that variable or the function uh, either above or down. It can be done anywhere, right? But when you're printing the or when you're doing console.log of that variable or of that function, the variable will give you the undefined value and the function will give you that particular function itself. Or if you're printing something in the console around the function, it will print that particular thing. Okay. But variables will give you undefined values. Now, here the questions can be asked why. Like why the variable is giving undefined value. Then you have to go to call stack. Then you have to go to GC. You have to explain everything, that why is it undefined, why is it not fetching the value. You have already given the values, but still it is giving me undefined value itself. Declaring you are doing down and printing you are doing above. So you're printing, so you are doing console.log earlier than declaring. That's what is hosting. So declaration moves to top automatically. Okay. What is the reason behind it? Why is it required? How do we do it? The practical implementation of this. And from hosting, many questions can be asked. They will try to just confuse you with multiple examples. Let's say that you're writing one program on hosting, correct? You have just written one particular program on hosting, and they'll try to say that can you just put or move this particular variable from here to here and tell me what will happen here and why is it happening so. So in JavaScript interviews, it's not about the definitions of one of the topic or the clear and crisp explanation of the topic, but it's more about how deep you have practiced. So if suppose I'm opening a particular folder of hosting, right? Here, if I'm opening this, I've written a lot of programs here, right? And you can see here all console.log is above and all the declaration is down, correct? Now from this particular code, whatever you will write in your interview, they'll just try to say that what if I'm doing it down? What if I'm just cutting it from here and putting it down? What's gonna happen? Can you tell me and can you explain me? So these kind of things, how you'll practice, you have to practice on your own. So try to answer it before the interview, before 1 day or 2 days of interview. Ask yourself, if somebody asks me explain hosting, how I'm going to explain, what example I'll take, how I'm going to explain them. If interviewer is saying that move this to this, then what will happen? Try to do this on your own. Try to play with your code on your own. Try all the possibilities. Try all the possibilities in your code, right? And then you will be in much better position to answer those questions because you have run those test cases, because you have run those programs on your own, right? And suppose by chance if interview is asking about one of the thing which you have not done, right, then do that there and learn it then and there itself in the interview. No matter if you are giving a wrong answer, learn it there itself, because that will be a learning thing for you in the interview. You'll be able to understand something. Whether you're getting uh, hired or not, that doesn't matter, because a lot of company which you can get hired for, so there's no hurry in that, but you're getting a concept cleared there, right? So that is most important, right? So that's how you need to do or cover these questions, because these questions can be turned and twisted in a very critical manner. Okay, let's move to the third question. Okay, now let me just take Amit Kumar's question right now. Hi Abhijit, sir, what is async and await? Abhijit, I have explained this async and await in my advanced part 4, right? Please go ahead and watch those sessions. Uh, Async and await, what is it? What is asynchronous and synchronous? What is the difference between both of them? How can we change our JavaScript which is synchronous to asynchronous? Right, those all things are done there in JavaScript part 4. I've also explained you promises, because await and async is used with promises. So try to first learn what is promises with that particular video, and after that I've also explained async and await. Try to see that as well, Abhijit. It will be really good if you can go and find that video. Right, it is advanced JavaScript part 4. I am confused between synchronous and asynchronous, like the example of waiter taking order same time with multiple customers. Waiter taking order same time with multiple customers. Okay. Synchronous means executing line by line and wait to complete the execution. Yes. So basically, synchronous means, let's say that if this is a line of code, right? So synchronous means that all the execution of this particular code will be happening line by line. Okay. So in internal JS engine, when you come inside JS engine, what happens? All the codes, whatever you have written, it goes and executes one by one. If you have seen my earlier videos, you have seen that I've gone to the console and I've explained how the JS engine works or how the call stack is working, right? So let's say I have this particular file, right? Now if I run this and if I go to my console in the sources, and if I just put up debuggers in all of these places, and if I just run this, what's going to happen? First, your command will go to calling of the function. Every time first your command will go to calling of the function, because in JavaScript we do not have any main method or such, right? We don't have main method as such, which is there in our Java and C programming language, because there we know that what is the heart of the program, from where the execution will start, right? So those languages have some area where you know that from here the execution will start. But in JavaScript or kind of Python language, these are scripting language. Those are not having any start or heart of the program kind of thing. They just start with whatever program you are writing. So let's say in the beginning you have a function call, so it will directly call this function first of all. It will directly call this function first of all. But suppose that this is not your first thing. This is not your first line. The first line is this. Then what's going to happen? This line will get executed and y will get an undefined value. So what is happening? Line by line execution is happening, right? It's not that it is having some main function and is going to start from there. No, right? It's starting from the first line itself. The execution is starting from the first line itself. That is what is synchronous. Okay. So we do say that JavaScript is synchronous scripting language. Asynchronous means that when you use promises, right? In the case of promises, what do? In the case of promises, you make a promise to the browser. You make a promise that if this is not happening, then I am going to do this, otherwise error will come. So there is two things, either success or failure. So in that case, what happens? Program can differ, cannot go line by line, because you have done some promises, or based on that promises, either it will do success or either it will do failure. So in those cases, it is called as that I'm making my JavaScript run as asynchronously. Okay. I hope it is clear, Amit. So yes, synchronous means executing line by line and wait to complete the execution. Yes, it will wait to complete the execution. Also, I'll give you one more example. So in synchronous, you know, right, what happens? Line by line execution. So all the line by line execution will happen. That is what is synchronous. Fine. In asynchronous, let me give you one more example. You know about set timeout, right? In set timeout, what happens? Basically, you give 5 seconds or 5,000 milliseconds of time and say that this part of code, I want to run it after 5 seconds. So that is asynchronous, because for your 5 seconds, other particular lines of code will not wait. JavaScript waits for none. So if you are bringing a set timeout function there, if you have other lines of code after set timeout, those lines of code will get executed. Set timeout will wait for 5 seconds. So it's not like set timeout for will wait for 5 seconds and after 5 seconds all the other console.log will also get executed. No. In that case, we call it as asynchronous, because we are saying that, hey, you, as in a statement, you have to wait for 5 seconds and let other statements get printed, because JavaScript waits for none. So that is asynchronous. Okay. Hi Atik, operators and data types output based questions. Yes, they can ask this. Hi Milind, sir, did you teach debouncing? I'm new here. Milind, I have not taken debouncing and currying till now. It is on the plan. I think today we have one session on advanced JavaScript part 5, right? But I'm not sure if I'll be able to take it because it's Sunday and it's evening time, so I'm not sure. But let me see if I can come up with it by tomorrow morning itself. Advanced JavaScript part 5. In part 5, I plan to cover currying and debouncing, right? And all of those advanced topics, because this is the last part of advanced JavaScript. So yeah, I've not covered Million till now, but I'm planning to cover it by today or tomorrow. So in interview classes, objects and intents ask or not? Pawan. Yes, it will be asked. I'll tell you what all questions will be asked. Just put down more questions and I'll be able to answer it. Okay. So let's go to the JS questions again. Let's close this. Let's close this. Let me just save it. And yeah, so we have done about hosting, right? Now, one particular term which is implicit type coercion. Okay, now what is this? What is implicit type coercion? Now again, these are the things which you have already learned. It's just that the words are not known to you, so you must be getting confused. It is just the same thing which is also called as string concatenation, right? So you know that in JavaScript you cannot add two strings, or you cannot add one number and one string. Add in the sense addition, you can't do that. So we do call it as concatenation, right? So if you have x equal to 3 and you have x equal to 3, the answer will be 3 3. So this is nothing but implicit type coercion. Okay, implicit type coercion means implicit, that means internal. Type means any data type. So whether it is a string or a number, if you are coercing it, if you are concatenating it, it will react differently. Okay, so if you have two names, let's say Ritwik and Raj, so if you are adding it, it's gonna get added or concatenated together, but the numbers will give you the addition of numbers. Okay, if it is a string, then it's gonna concatenate. That is what is the meaning of implicit, and I hope you understood these things very easily, so I don't think there'll be any problem. Again, next thing, what is prompt, alert, what is prompt and alert? Let's talk about this. What is this? So in here there will be many questions asked, because this is a very easy question, but again it's a tricky one. Alert, what does alert and prompt do? What is the difference between these two? See, these both gives you the same thing. It's a notifier, right? It's a pop-up box which appears. So alert is a pop-up box which gives you a message, and with the OK button, so you just need to click on OK and this pop-up box will disappear. But prompt will take some values. Prompt will take some input values, and it is having two buttons, either OK or either cancel, right? So prompt takes the input values, but alert doesn't take any value. It just pops up any particular message. I'm not trying to just show you any code, because this is not a practical coding session. This is just a JS question. I've already explained about these in my earlier sessions. If you have not watched it, please watch it. I've explained it in a very great manner. Here, one more question can be asked to you, that if prompt takes an input, in what form does it take the input? Always remember, prompt takes the input as a string. Even if you are putting a number which is 3, it takes the input as a string. So after this, they will ask you, can you add two numbers and show me in prompt what will be the output? So prompt will take the number 1, prompt only will take number 2, and prompt will only give you the result. What will be the result? So let's say the number 1 is 5 and the number 2 is 4. Do you think it will give you the answer as 9? No, it will give 54 in the prompt, because prompt is always taking input as a string. So these are some of the tricky questions which they can ask to know that whether you know all the concepts very clearly or not. So be very, very strict about these particular questions. Next question can be, what is the difference between double equal to and triple equal to, right? So this is again a very good question, because very famous question, and most of the people do get confused here while they are asking a question writing practical thing. So they can ask something like this: where x equal to 5, and you have where y equal to 5. They'll just say this, whether it'll give you true or false, right? So x triple equal to y triple equal to means that the type should be also equal and the value should be also equal. But right now, as you can see, the type is not equal here. One is number and one is a string, so it's gonna be false. But in the case if it is x equal to y, so only the value will be compared and it will give you a true. So only the value is compared. Value is 5, so it's gonna give you true. One second. Right? So this is what is your explanation about this. So please understand about double equal to and triple equal to very, very closely, right? Also, one question can be around operator. For freshers, mostly they will not ask this, but I'm just I do ask these questions about operators, which is on bitwise. How does this work? Okay, this is very common question for any programming language, not specifically for JavaScript, but bitwise is also everywhere in any programming language. So this question can be asked about bitwise also. They'll just write some 3 lines of code and they'll try to tell you what will be the answer of this. So this can also be asked. With this, they can also ask that what is the new operator which is included in new arithmetic operator included in JavaScript. Can anybody tell me what is this? What is the answer of this? New arithmetic operator included in JavaScript? Like we have plus, minus, multiplication, division, modulus, right? What is one more particular operator, arithmetic operator, which is there in JavaScript? Can anybody tell me what is this new JavaScript operator, right? If you are answering, I'll just wait for it and I'll move to the next question. Okay. Here in the variable, I'm going to also write one more question. Static and dynamic type. They can ask you this question: what is the static and dynamic type? Okay, let's take some questions. Okay. Okay. Hi sir, have you taught prototypes and prototypal inheritance? Please teach it, as it is very frequently asked. Atik, prototypes I have explained. Prototypes I have taken in one of the session. I think advanced JavaScript part 3 or part 4. I have done that. Prototypal inheritance is upcoming in the next session. I'll just make a note so that we do not skip this part. One second. So there are some of the topics, like one person also told about debouncing, right? And then prototypal inheritance, currying. These are some of the topics which I'll be coming up with in the next session of Advanced JavaScript Part 5. So don't worry, I'll include all these topics in that. Yes, so prototype is done, but prototypal inheritance I have not explained. Okay, what next? Sir, in Let and Const, hosting cannot working. Yes, hosting works only with normal function var. Hosting works in all three var, const and let. It's just that const and let is not declared in GC. Okay, so if you have not understood what is hosting, please go ahead and watch the video. It'll just take 5 to 10 minutes to understand that. That video is not too long. You just have to go ahead and watch the session. Basically, let provides you a block scope, right? And yeah, this also can be a great question here. Different scopes, right? And how does it work? So here, person can ask you what is a block scope. They can ask you what's a lexical scope. right? And they can ask you what is a global scope. And here questions can be twisted in a very, very good manner. Like they can just say that, can you bring that particular variable declaration in the global scope and tell me what should be the answer. So please watch the videos very carefully, the advanced JavaScript part, because these all things have been explained there. Why block scope will not give the answer, why global scope will give the answer, when global scope will take the variable, when what is lexical scope, what is lexical environment, why is it called as lexical, right? All these things have been explained there. So please try to find this, okay, and try to learn what is it. Hoisting, if you're talking about, if you're saying that, yes, hoisting works in all three keywords, but understand how hoisting works in all three keywords. It's different. Okay, let and const, it works the same way, but in var it's something different. So please try to check that. And I've also told you one famous interview question on this. So try to watch that video carefully and try to learn that. Do not get confused in all these three. I can see three people are totally confused here. Pavan, Amit, and Atik, please get your concepts clear. If you're not clear, please watch those sessions again. You will get cleared. I am damn sure. Okay, so watch those things again, watch those sessions again, those parts where I've discussed about this again. You'll be able to understand it. Sir, can you teach Node.js to us? I'm planning to do it, but before that, we have some more things. We have some frameworks and all which we need to finish, because you guys have requested a Bootstrap and Tailwind CSS. So I'm preparing on that, and soon I'll be coming with that. Maybe I think tomorrow I have one session on Bootstrap and all. So I'm starting with that. Once those things will get completed, then only I'll be taking new challenges, and I'll be taking that, and I'll be taking Node.js as well. Angular is also on the line, so just wait, everything will come up. Doubt how to tackle comparison questions like why we use div instead of span or section, etc. Shivang Ramola, comparison questions like why we use div instead of span or section, etc. The question which you are asking, why do we use div instead of span? The reason is very simple. Div is a block element, span is an inline element. So if you are providing something in the block element, it will take the whole width of the page, the whole width, the full width of the page. But in span, it's an inline element, so it will only take the small region of it, right? So how you can compare, how you can give answers to this comparison questions, you can just tell the theory first. You can just tell that this is the difference between these two, just one point is enough. And after that, trying to do it practically, try to just ask them first that is it sufficient, or do you want me to do it practically and show you. And surely they will ask you to do it practically, and then you'll be more confident about it, and you can just show them practically, because once you show them practically, the difference will be clearly visible, right? And then it will be really good for you. So try to tackle these questions doing it practically rather than just explaining it with your speak. Okay, do not just tell them what is the difference, because telling a difference is very, very complicated. People can understand it in a different way, but you are trying to say the correct thing, right? You are saying the correct thing, but people will take it in a different way, and maybe you will get rejected. So try to do it in practical manner, try to show them the difference in a practical manner. सर मैं HTML CSS जावास्क्रिप्ट पढ़ लिया हूँ, प्रोजेक्ट कैसे बनाएं, प्लीज हेल्प मी. Hi Rohit, if you can watch my yesterday's session where I've explained about JS mixed projects part 5, try to please see that, because there I have given a list of projects which you can design. Okay, so in that mixed project part, I have given some of the list of projects. Let me just show you. I don't know if I can find it here. I think it was in another folder. So please watch that session. There I have given a list of all the projects which you can create. अगर आपको नहीं मिल रहा है, if you're not being able to find it, then just give me 1 second. I'll just try to create a list again. I'll just try to say what all things you can create if you're a beginner or something. So first, if you are a beginner projects, right? First, what you can create is a calculator app. Again, do not create this on your just a simple one. please create it in a more detailed manner, and please apply some CSS and animation and transitions and all. Apply how much ever you want, because there are lots of calculators in the market which other people are also creating. You have to be unique about it. Calculator, digital clock, these are just for beginners, okay? Digital clock, sidebar today in at 4 p.m. I'll be at 3 p.m. I guess I'll be coming back with the JavaScript mixed projects part 4. I'll be explaining how to do sidebar project, so please do that. Digital clock, calculator, quiz and all I've already done. To-do list I've already done. And the next is authentication. I just did authentication the previous day, yesterday. These are some beginner projects. Then let's move to intermediate. In intermediate projects, you can create a shopping cart, the cart page, okay? Only the cart page, do not create the whole website itself. Then you can create a meditation or origami or any e-commerce website. These are just examples which I'm giving: meditation, origami or e-commerce, because many times people do say that every other person is creating an e-commerce website like Myntra or Amazon. Then what unique I can do? You can do unique about meditation, you can do unique in origami, you can do unique in paper folding, or your own startup website, right? Anything will work, but it should be a working website, the whole full-fledged website. That's what is an intermediate project. You can also create a virtual keypad using HTML, CSS and JavaScript. A pin pad in the sense, in your mobile you do have pin pad, right, where you put down the pin and your phone opens, that thing. Then expense tracker, like whatever you are spending, when you are spending, that particular expense tracker you can create. Or you can create web games, something like a snake game or tic-tac-toe or what else, bouncing ball, right? Rock paper scissors, these all you can create. Then comes advanced projects. Let's understand what are projects you can create in advanced sections. So in advanced projects, what you can create is a clone of a website. So YouTube clone you can do, right? Amazon clone you can do. Next, anyone, do not do both, do not do Amazon, YouTube both. YouTube is basically a single page application where we use Angular and all. So that's why YouTube is there. Amazon is not a single page application, so that's why I've written both of them. There's a difference between both of them. Multiplayer game you can create, okay, like a ping pong, right? A ping pong game you can create where multiple person can get connected with the server and they can play this game together, okay? Unsplash website, which I've used in most of my projects, that you can create. Instagram clone or Facebook clone you can create, because these are different than YouTube and Amazon, because Amazon is a e-commerce, YouTube is a video player kind of thing, and Instagram and Facebook is a social media. So try to create this thing, okay? There's one more thing, CMS, but again CMS is not very much important. It's a management system, so it will be really hard for you, so don't do that right now, okay? So these are some of the projects: beginner, intermediate and advanced. Please take a screenshot right away, because I'll be removing it from here right now, or I'll just comment it for this, okay? You can take down. Try to do these kind of projects. If you have these kind of projects in your resume, this will create a very good impact, because all these programs are different from each other, and all these have different concepts. None of the projects here are similar to each other. All of the projects here are different from each other. So try to do these kind of projects. Once again, सर थर्ड ईयर में है क्या प्रोजेक्ट बनाना चाहिए, प्लीज हेल्प मी, सी प्लस जावा कोड पढ़ लिए हैं। रोहित, प्रोजेक्ट आइडिया प्लीज हेल्प, प्रोजेक्ट बनाए हैं, लिंक स्नैक गेम, सर क्रड वेब फॉर बिगिनर। Shivang, a CRUD app, you can create a very basic one, right? Using HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and one of the backend language with SQL. CRUD application is create, read, update, and delete. So you can create something like a library system management, right? Where all the books are getting stored in the database, and whichever is taken by which student, you are managing that in the admin part. So basically, you are creating a queue, you are creating a task, you are reading the details of it, you are updating it, and you are deleting it. So a library management system will work fine here, or a hotel management system, or a flight reservation system. These kind of systems can be created. You can find it in anywhere. Try to create this kind of system when you are learning CRUD applications with WebDApp. So this will really work. Like a CMS will also work very closely with this kind of CRUD applications. So try to do that. If you know SQL, this will really help you out. I made Flipkart clone and my teacher said it's a copy paste. That's why I'm saying if you're making a Flipkart, try to embed something of your own there. If they are trying to say that it's a clone and anybody can do it because you can find the source code anywhere, then try to show them that part which you have created on your own, right? And try to say that yes, that's what I thought, that everybody's creating the same thing, but for my practice and for my knowledge increase, I did embed one of the extra things in Facebook so that this can be implemented. So this is what I did on my own, and that's where interviewer will be shut, right? So that's what you can do. Music player you can do, but again, music player when you are doing, it's mostly like a YouTube clone. So either you do YouTube or either you do Spotify clone, that it's nothing but same thing. Doubt, if I made an e-commerce or shopping website, is it mandatory to use login authentication? Yes, you should do it, because when you're doing a web e-commerce website, all of the sections, all of the different pages should work. So login authentication and the cart, right? All these things works. Do not go to cart and do not just try to go to PayPal or Paytm. Do not link with third-party libraries right now. Keep it very simple because it's an intermediate project which you will create, right? It will come here. So do not try to embed everything. Try to embed those things which will give an interviewer an idea that you know about authentications, you know about how to link pages, you know about how to move to different pages, right? Let's say you want to add some products in your cart. So if you click on plus sign, it gets added to the cart itself. How you can do that? That's those things you can do it in this website. Okay, don't add third-party libraries in this one. Add third-party libraries in these advanced projects. Okay. So what will you teach us? Front-end framework, Angular, React, or Next? I'll be teaching React. Angular, I'm not sure because many of the people have demanded for React, so I'll be doing React. सर वेब डेवलपर के लिए कौन कौन से लैंग्वेज कमांड करनी पड़ेगी? Rohit Kumar, it's already there in the web developer is not front developer first of all. ठीक है, web developer is basically a person who does front end, back end and database all three. उसको full stack developer भी बोलते हैं. Do not get confused. Web developer means पूरा का पूरा website बनाना. It's not only the front end part. It's not only the UI and UX design. It's the whole thing. So difference पता होना चाहिए. Front end developer is only working in the front end part. That means only in the UI and UX design part. HTML, CSS, JS, and other JS frameworks, and maybe some of the JS frameworks as well, or Bootstrap, these all things, right? Or preprocessors and those things. Those are in front end. When you talk about web developer, he needs to know everything. In backend, one programming language, SQL database or MongoDB, anything, and then from front end also HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and JS frameworks. Okay, so try to get a difference between both the things. Okay, cool. So let's understand what are the basic questions because I have not even completed half of them. You guys are asking a lot of questions. So next question is nothing but the difference between null and undefined. Again, this is a very famous question. It will be asked to you because undefined and null is nothing but same, but there is a difference here. So understand what is the difference. Again, I have explained this particular thing in my previous sessions. So you must be knowing how to do this. Okay. How to show, actually, how to do it practically and show it. So undefined are the values which are provided internally from the JS engine to any particular variable in the starting of the program, in the execution. And null is a value where you do not have any values to it. It's not defined, actually. You have not given any value. So that's null. So please try to see what is it. And also with this, one more question can be asked, that what is a NaN property? Okay, so NaN means not a number. So also please explain this to them, that this is not a not a number, and that means if any particular command, if I'm writing and I want to find whether it is not a number or a number, you'll be able to find that. Let's say that if I'm writing here NaN hello, so obviously it's not a number, so it's gonna tell me true. But if I write here any number, it's gonna give me false, because it is a number. So that's what is not a number. So these kind of questions, please do practice. These are small questions, very small questions, just one property, just one method, but still, if you do not know about this, you are going to get less marks. So please understand that as well. Okay, now questions related to functions. Let's come to functions. Now when it comes to functions, there can be a lot of questions which can be asked. Okay, so here a lot of questions can be formed. Now please understand, functions are really very crazy in JavaScript. Okay, because you can pass functions as an argument. You can call, you can have functions in a function as a parameter, right? You can call functions within a function, right? Next, there are different names to different functions, right? These are the different test cases which can be asked. You don't know how this person will react with you, right? And they can ask you different questions. You can pass functions as an argument. Suppose you are calling a particular function, in the argument you can pass a function call. You can do that. Either you can pass a function call, or you can also pass a whole function itself. That also you can do. You can have functions in a function as a parameter. So you're declaring a function, and in the function parameter you can write a function. These all test cases I have explained to you in my advanced JavaScript part, if you have seen my videos. So it's very important to go ahead and watch those 4 sessions, because these all test cases I've explained to you there. You can call functions within a function, right? These things you cannot do in other programming languages. That's why I'm saying functions are crazy in JavaScript. Okay, and it behaves abnormally. So sometimes you will get confused what is happening in my program, but it is true. That's how it happens. So this question can be asked. Different names to different functions. That means there are different names for my functions. We have something called as anonymous function. We have something called as I've also done this somewhere. I wrote this somewhere in my program. I don't know where I have done that. Yeah, so you can see function statement, function declaration, function expression, anonymous function, named function expression, first class function, callback function, first class citizens. These all are terms and terminologies which can be asked to you in any manner, and these are all the names of different functions, right? So these questions can be asked to you in any manner, and that's why I've written different names to different functions, right? So functions is a very big topic in JavaScript, and how much ever you do practice functions, you'll not be able to complete all the concepts of functions. So try to cover maximum to maximum kind of test cases and try to figure it out on your own. Sit for one day, try to figure out, play with functions, try to see if I do this here, if I do that there, then what's going to happen. Try to do all those things, try to play with JavaScript and play with functions, then only you'll going to crack this particular question. So I'm just writing functions as the question. Many questions can be asked from here. The next is highest order function. What is the concept of this? What is highest order function? Very recently I've taught you what is highest order function, and I've explained in a very good manner. Like I've explained about promises, async and await as well. This was the session when I explained you about highest order functions, right? I think here, which comes under functional programming. I took some examples and I explained you a function which takes another function as an argument or return a function from it. That's what is highest order function. And I also explained you if you're writing a program for highest order function, then which one is callback and which one is highest order function. So this comparison can be asked again, that what is a callback function or what is a highest order function. Once they'll come to callback function, they will ask you what is an event loop. What does event loop do? What's a callback queue? What's a multitask queue? So these questions can also be asked. Here I'm going to just write callback function. And the next questions can be asked in callback queue, multitask queue, and event loop. These questions are really very famous questions. These can be asked. I'll just put down here it as intermediate, because I feel these questions can be intermediate questions. Okay. So if you do not have any idea about this, please go ahead and watch advanced part 4. You'll be able to understand about all these things, right? Next question can be asked about classes. How do you create classes? How do you create objects? With objects, they can also about this keyword, because once they go ahead with the topic like class and object, once class and object you will explain, you will use this keyword. Right? Whenever you create any class and you use an object, you have to write this keyword to make the variables of the class and variables of the object equal, right? So when you use this keyword, once you write this keyword, the next question of the interview will be, what is this keyword? What does it do? So that also you need to have a clear observance that you explain this keyword in a very cool manner. Okay. The next question is on what's map, filter, and reduce. So this is a VVIP question, very important, because these are 3 functions which I have not explained till now. So I'll explain it right away, right now, and try to understand what is this map, filter, and reduce. And I'll give you some examples to make it understand. Okay, so try to understand what is this. But yeah, this is a very important question, and try to explain it in this manner itself, how I am going to explain it to you. Okay, always understand that whatever explaining you are doing, whatever explanations you are giving, this should be as simple as possible, because interviewers should get a vibe that okay, I can understand what he's explaining. So in that way you need to teach. Also, there is one more method which is called as call, apply, and bind. So this is also again a VVIP. I'm not going to cover this today, but I'm going to cover this particular thing in the advanced part 5. So again, let me just write it here. So call, apply, and bind will be taken in advanced part 5. Okay, so soon I am coming up with this advanced JavaScript part 5, and I'm going to teach what is call, apply, and bind. Map, filter, and reduce, I'm going to take it right away, right now. Okay, there is one more topic which is important. Yeah, So that's nothing but I'll write it here only because it's much more similar to this. That's polyfill, right? So polyfill is nothing but you use call, apply, and bind with that. So this is also one of the important topic. I'm going to teach that as well. Okay. These are some of the intermediate questions which can be asked. I'll write some more, but not now. I think this much is enough for interview questions as intermediate. We'll move to advanced. Okay. So before moving to advanced, let me just explain you what is map, filter, and reduce by creating a file and folder and doing some codings in that. Okay. So I hope you'll be able to understand what is map, filter, and reduce. Okay. Shivang Ramola, web developer, HTML, CSS, JS backend, yes, and web designer, Photoshop, UI, UX design, yes. Basically, if you know all of these things, if you know HTML, CSS, JavaScript, UI, UX, Photoshop, then you are going to create any website very easily. Okay, so and you'll be placed in a very good company if you know all of these things, because UI UX people, what they do, they actually design the whole systematic way of creating a particular website, how it should look like, the colors and shades and other animations in UI UX design is awesome. So it's not that in UI UX design you do not need to understand HTML CSS. You should have an idea about HTML CSS also when you're moving into UI and UX design or a web designer. Okay, but yes, the comparison which you have told is correct in a way. So I'm going to take 1 second. सर जावा जावास्क्रिप्ट दोनों लैंग्वेज सीखना इंपॉर्टेंट है फुल स्टैक डेवलपर्स के लिए. मुर्गेश, इट्स नॉट इम्पॉर्टेंट. सॉफ्टवेयर डेवलपर, फुल स्टैक डेवलपर्स के लिए, इफ यू आर इंटरेस्टेड इन जावा, गो ahead with that. If you're interested in JavaScript, go ahead with that. Right now, JavaScript and Python is more popular, so I'll suggest skip Java. Go ahead with JavaScript and Python because those both languages are in demand. Uh, you will get more opportunities from both languages, and you'll have much more areas to breathe in. Like you'll have much more areas to cover up. So you'll get more opportunities. Even if you're getting rejected in one of the company, you will have second company in your hand. So that's why move into JavaScript and Python if you're a beginner and you're trying to move. Java is also there, but still Java is a more complicated language. So many people do not try to go into that. So yeah. JS is for front end, Java for back end. Shivang, it's not always that. Uh, Shivang and Murgesh, basically JS is for both. JS is for front end and back end. JS is a client side and scripting side language also, server side also. So client and server side both JavaScript is used. JavaScript is used in front end as well, back end as well. So do not get into this myth that JavaScript is only in front end. No, JavaScript can be used as a back end also. Okay. So what Python can do, JavaScript can also do that. But what JavaScript can do in front end, Python cannot do that in front end. Try to understand the difference. Shivang, you can't use Java in front end, bro. Yes, you cannot use Java in front end. Java is mostly used in back end because that's a back end language. Does map require high understanding of DS algo? Shivang, this map is not that map. Okay, what you are understanding. This is not that map which you have in DSA. This map is something else. Okay, this map is a function which is there in JavaScript to map some of the data. I'll try to explain you right away. Okay, do not get confused between this map and your DSA map. It's not even related. Okay, so let me create one folder and let's try to do some codings, or otherwise let's do the coding in advance for JavaScript itself. Okay, so going to go to the script.js. Have written some program, so let me just comment this. Let me just run it in my browser so that I can show you the browser. I'll close it for now. I'll save this for now and I'll open it with live server. So let me just show you how is it coming and how is it appearing. Okay. So if I go back to browser, you can see here you are getting Aman Gupta here. Okay. That's what is nothing but printed in my HTML page. This is not happening because of JavaScript. Fine. So you can see here in the JavaScript, that's what you're getting. I'm going to do one thing. I'm going to just comment this up right now because I don't want to print anything in my browser. So I'm going to just say empty, just script.js. And now let's try to understand what is happening here. Okay. Going to close this. Now, try to understand there are three functions which we are going to understand today. Okay. And then we are moving into advanced interview questions. But first of all, we'll try to understand these three. So first is map. Okay. Now understand when you say map means for each of the array element, you want to map something. Okay. So let's say if I have an array, let's say I have an array right? I have some numbers, let's say 3, 6, 9, 4. These numbers I have in my array, right? So for each of the array element, you want to map something. So let's say for each of the array element, do you remember I did one program where I explained you how to double or triple your particular problem? I think I did this here itself. Yeah, I did this here itself. You can see. So I also explained you here that you can use map. Do you remember this? I explained you this program where I created one const array, and then I written one function for which I was writing one logic, and then I commented this logic and I just wrote map and it was working, right? So map is nothing but the map logic is this logic. I explained you that logic also, that it actually iterates to each of the elements. Map actually iterates to each of the elements and does the logic with itself and then brings back the result. That's what map does. This I've already explained it to you very clearly, so you must be knowing what is map. If you have not seen this video, go ahead and watch it, advanced part 4. You will understand all of the things about map right now. Okay, if you have not understood, I'm going to explain you again. So now what I want, let's say that I want to double these numbers. I want to do 3 into 3 or 6 into 6, something like that. So here what I'm going to do, here I'm going to just write const, let's say result equal to array dot map. Here I'm going to mention one of the function which I'll be writing. So let's say I'm going to write here square. This is the particular function name which I have written. So I need to declare the function. I'm just going to write function square, and in that I'm going to pass one particular variable, and here I'm going to just return x into x. So what's happening here, basically it is doing the square of the number, right? And next what I'm going to do, I'm going to do console.log because it's getting printed in my result, right? So I'm going to print the result. Okay, let's check out what's going to happen in my console because it's not in document.write. So if I go back to my browser, if I click on inspect, if I go on console, you can see here there are 4 arrays which is coming, and it is showing me 0. In place of 0 it's 9, then 36, then 81, then 16. So the numbers are also the same. It is having 3, 6, 9 and 4, and that's how it's getting square, right? Any doubts? Okay, there are no doubts. So I hope you have understood this, right? Now, this is how you use map, but how is it working? Let's understand how is it working. So basically when you're using map, what is happening? You are writing array.map square, right? So you are saying that this is the array which you have to take, and you have to map each of the elements with this function. So each of the elements 3 will be taken as x, 3 into 3 will be 9. It will just return that and print it. Again 6 will be taken. It will just take that and will print it. You passed function in another function. Yes, I passed function in map function. Okay, so map is also a function, but it's a predefined function. So yes, I passed function in another function. Okay, but understand that is not square. I'm not calling square. I'm just written square in my argument. So please understand the difference. I have not written something like this, right? I'm not calling. I've just written square. So it is saying take this array, take each of the elements and map it to the function square. So it's getting mapped every time. Now suppose if you want to do it for cube, so you're going to do. So what you're going to do is you'll do the same thing. You'll just create this and maybe you'll write it here and you'll mention here it as cube, right? And you'll just add one more x here and you will put down this again. Let's say result 1 and let's say here you are putting up cube and here you're going to print up result 1. So I'm only doing console.log for result 1. If you want to do, you can do result for console.log for result all as well. So I'm going to save this and let's check out what is the answer. So you are getting 27, 216, 729, 64. That's the cube, right? So this is how your map works. I think this is very easy because anybody can do this and you know how it is working right now because I have done this in my advanced 4 part JS also, advanced JS part 4 also. So I think you know this. Okay. Now let's try to see how this code can be changed and how tricky it can become. Okay. So if suppose somebody is asking you that, hey, you know what, you have written here square, right? So let's do something. What if I'm bringing this square from here and I'm putting it up here directly? What if I'm doing this, whether it will run or not? So let's try to print return and let's try to see whether it will print or not. If you go back, you can see it works. It is giving me the square of the number, right? Why it is giving me the square of the number? Because I've done the same thing. What I've done, I've just whatever I was calling, I have just directly put it up there. I'm not calling now. I'm just putting up the function there. And do you remember I told you that if you have only one sentence here and if you have also written the function, you can also remove this. There's no meaning to write this particular thing here, right? And you can use it as an arrow function and this will also work. So I have not given, it's not important to give the name now to the function because I don't need that function anywhere because directly I'm using that function in my place. So I don't need the function name to be there. So if I save this again, you will get the same output. There'll be no difference, right? Now, here in this function, I have only one line, only one statement, right? So is it important to write the curly brackets? No, right? You can remove it. You can remove the curly brackets as well. So I can just write this and this will also work. 1 second, just let me make it correct. Return x into x. This will have the, yeah, this also we don't need. And this also we don't need. So we don't need return, we don't need curly brackets. Let's save this again. It is working. So you can see how cool is it, how 3 to 4 lines of code have been come inside just one line. So this is the kind of code which your interviewer wants you to write, right? And they will keep on asking you that how can you make it minimum, how can you make the lines minimum, how can you decrease it, and you have to understand that this is how you can write it, right? Now let's say that I want to change this cube also for like that. So what you can do, you can do the same thing. You can write const result 1 and in the same way you can just copy from here till here because it's just one thing. So function name is not required. You can remove the curly brackets. You can give an arrow function and you can remove the return keyword as well because you don't require it. And also you can remove this curly brackets as well. So this is gonna give you the console.log result 1. I'll do, it will give me the cube. Okay, any questions? Can this arrow function be used in case of multiple lines of codes? What do you mean by multiple lines of code? No. Yeah, arrow function can be used in multiple lines of code, but you have to give the curly brackets. Return and curly bracket should be there when there are multiple lines of code inside the function. You know if statement, right? In if statement, when you write if x is less than 10, print this. Do you put curly bracket there? No, right? Because it's single statement. But when you have multiple statements, you do put curly brackets. So multiple statements jab hoga, then you have to put curly brackets and return keyword. But right now I was having only one sentence, so that's why I was skipping curly brackets and return keyword. But arrow function can work with multiple and single both. ठीक है? Fine. So this is what is map. Now what we'll do, we'll try to understand what is filter. Now understand filter, again it tells you something, right? Filter means it will filter the required output from the array. So it's going to filter output from the array, right? How it's going to filter things from my array? So let's try to understand this. Let's say I want to get all the even numbers from this, all the even numbers from this, or all the odd numbers from this, right? So how will you do that? What is the question? The question is trying to filter things from the array, right? I want only the odd numbers, so I'm filtering. I want only the odd numbers. I want only the even numbers, so I'm filtering. That's what is filtering, right? So how to filter? That's when we will use our filter method. Okay, I hope there is no question. Okay, so let's do this. How you're going to do this? I already have one array, so I'm going to just directly write const and let's say res. I have already used a result and result1. Time being, I'm just using this. Later on I will remove this. I'll remove the upper part of code, but time being I'll just keeping it. So here I'm just going to write here. Let's say I'm going to put up here can odd. This is the function. Same way I've used here, right? In the same manner I've used, and in the same manner I'm going to give the function as well. So let's say can odd, and I'm just going to give here x, and here I'm just going to give return. So what it should return, because odd is there, so I want to return all those elements which are odd, right? How will I get to know that it is odd? When I'm going to do the modulus of God. Thanks, Jitender. Sorry, guys. I hope you can see it now. You can see it, right? Filter. So filter the required output from the array. So filter the required output from the array means if I want to get the odd numbers, so odd numbers will get from here. So I'm filtering the odd numbers, filtering the even numbers, filtering the any whatever conditions you will say you want to filter something from the array. So that's what you're doing here, and I'm just writing the same thing, the same way how I wrote here, the same way I'm writing this. Do not compare this and this, because here I changed the way of writing the function. Here also I will change the way of writing the function later on, not now. Right now I'm just keeping it as simple as it is. Okay, later on I will change this as well. So here I'm going to put down x modulus 2. Why only x modulus 2? Let's say x is having 3. 3 modulus 2 will give me false. So it's gonna have odd. So it's gonna return that. Okay. 6 modulus 2 will become 0. So it's not gonna return anything. Right? So that's why I've written this. Will it give me the output? Let's try to understand. So console.log, and I'm just going to type here res, because res will have all the numbers which is odd. So let's check out whether it is giving me the odd or not. So if I go back to my thing, you can see 3 and 9, right? So 3 and 9 is the odd numbers, and that's how I've written the code. In the similar way, I can write the code for even also. So in that case, what I can do, I can write here, let's say output. I can say here can even, right? And here also I'll just change it to can even. Now, can you tell me what will be the logic of this? What can be the logic of this? See, here I was writing the logic where I wanted the odd numbers to be find out. So if the number is modulus by 2 and if it is returning any particular number, then it's going to be odd, right? In which case it will return even? In which case it will return even when the number is getting divisible by a 2 completely. There is reminder which is coming as 0. So what I have to do here, I have to just mention here double equal to 0, right? So once you do that, you will be able to get a output. But this I'll just make it triple equal to, because type and value should also match. So I'm just gonna write here triple equal to 0. So let's try to find out if it is giving me the even numbers. Please do let me know if you're understanding these examples. Let's try to find out whether it is giving me the even numbers or not. So yes, it is giving me 6 and 4. Any doubts? Any doubts till now? Any doubts, guys? Please do let me know. Otherwise, we'll move forward. I've explained this, guys, difference between double equal to and triple equal to. Double equal to means you are just comparing the value. You're just comparing the value. For an example, if you have written 2 and 2, it's gonna give you true if you're using double equal to, because it's gonna just compare the value. The value of this 2 is 2, the value of that 2 is also 2. So the value is matching, the value is equals. That's what is double equal to. But if you'll do it for your triple equal to, it's gonna print false. Why it's gonna print false? Because you're using triple equal to, it's gonna match the data type as well with the value. So value is matching, but the data type is not matching. Data type of this one is number and the data type of this one is a string, so it's not matching. So triple equal to matches the type and value, but double equal to only matches the value. Let's move ahead now. So here I can change this again to any of the thing, right? So I can remove this, I can put down this up here, and I can remove all my function names and my curly brackets, and I can just directly give an arrow, and I can just remove this return keyword as well, and I can also remove this curly bracket as well. What this gonna give me? This gonna give me the output, the same output which I am used to get. Again, I can do the same thing. So I'll just do this up here. I will remove this. I'll put down up here, and I'll remove this. I'll put down an arrow function here, and I'll remove these as well. What happened? Okay. Arey yaar. Thank you. Have a look. I just changed it to the same way how it was written. This is screen thing I need to remember. I'm just forgetting to change the screen. In which case use map and for each. For each is when you can use for each, but for each will not do the same task what map is doing. Please understand what map is doing. See, I have written these codes here. I'm used map here, right? But what map is doing, let's try to understand. Map is doing a lot of things. Okay, I hope you have seen this, so I can move above. So map is doing a lot of things. Let's try to understand what map is doing. Okay, let's go to the logic of it. So here is the map logic. Can you see this? This is the map logic. Now try to see what map is doing internally. Internally, what this map function is doing. So map function is taking two things. One is the logic, right? And one is the array. So the logic comes from the function, right? So the logic comes from the function, that is your cube or square or quad, whatever function you want to give, that's the logic. And this is the for loop which is getting come here, right? So what map is doing, map is internally going to each of the element of the array and taking that element of the array, putting it down inside the function which I have written, the logic which I have written, and whatever logic is getting worked there, it's gonna solve that. That's what map is doing internally. So instead of writing for each or for loop of these all things, map is doing these all things internally. Okay. So for each cannot be used here, for will be used, and you can do this. But instead of writing this 6 to 7 lines of code, why cannot you use just map? You can do that, right? So map does that. Let me just comment it. So here when I'm using map, map does a lot of things. Map goes to the array, takes each of the elements, put down it in the function and solves the logics and then print it inside the console. That's what map is doing. The difference between map and filter, map, it goes for each of the array element you want to map, right? So for each of the elements, it will map for each of the elements. So whenever such questions has been asked where each of the elements are used, you need to understand that I have to use map. Please understand, because this question is really important. What is the difference between map, filter and reduce? Where do you use map? Where do you use filter? Where do you use reduce? This question will be asked to you in many of the interview questions. So map is used where you want changes in each of the array element. Filter is used when you want to filter uh, just one element or a group of element from the array. You don't want to do things, you don't want to play with all the array elements in the filter part. In the filter part, you just want some of the arrays or some of the elements. I hope I'm an editor. Okay. Fine. So this is what is filter. Now, okay, I have a question for you. So see, you can do this again, right? You can do this for any particular thing. You can just say result 2 and you can just make it for quad, right? Maybe you can multiply one more x, right? And you can just print it, correct? You can do that. But my question is, I want to print all of these numbers binary value. Okay, all of these numbers binary value. So how can you do that? Can you just keep it as an assignment, right? Keep it as an assignment and let me know in the next sessions how will you put it up, or just tell me right away right now that how can you write a code so that each of the array elements is changed to a binary number, to its binary number. So you'll write the same thing, you'll write exactly the same thing, it's just the logic which you will change, right? So what is the logic which you'll be writing here to change it to binary? Can anybody tell me? What is that? But I have explained this. Do you remember binary, decimal to binary? When I was explaining you type conversion topic, I explained you how to change it from decimal to binary. We use one of the function. Uh, Give it to me in the live chat. I will put it down here. Okay. Dividing the value by 2. No, not dividing the value by 2. 2 will be used. 2 will be used. But why you will divide it? I mean, are you solving it in a way? Okay, so numbers can be divided by 2 numerically in your mathematics problem, but in programming languages, we can't do like that. Storing reminder. How many times you will do that? Don't you think it will become a very tedious problem because you are dividing by 2, storing the reminder, then again the number which comes you have to again divide by 2, store the reminder, then again you have to divide by 2 and store the reminder, and then you have to read all the reminders and then you get the binary value. That's a whole lot of procedure which is happening. That you know how to do binary decimal conversion in a sheet of paper, but how do you do a decimal to binary conversion in your programming language? That's what I'm asking. Anybody, please do let me know if you know the answer. I'll tell you later on. Okay. Right now, let's try to understand if I'm putting down here one more question, right? One question I've already given you, one as an assignment. Second question as an assignment, I'm just giving you it as I want all the elements, I want all the array elements which is greater than 5. I want all the elements which is greater than 5. Again, see the question. I want all the elements which is greater than 5. So I want some of the elements from the array, right? So obviously I won't be using map. I will be using filter because I'm filtering. This is a filter question because I want only those elements which is greater than 5. So what logic you will write here? Can anybody tell me? What logic you are going to write here? These are the two questions. Please put down the answer. What will be the answer, guys? So here basically what you have to do, I have explained you this. You have to use toString with 2 in the bracket. So this 2 will make sure that's a binary conversion. If you write 8, it will be octal conversion. If it is 10, it will be decimal conversion. So toString, yeah, parse int is also something which you can use, but parse int will not work here. Try to, because parse int will change anything to the integer. Okay, so parse int is a function which changes your binary to decimal, but not decimal to binary. Here I'm doing decimal to binary, so toString will work. Let's try to see the result of this. Where is the error? Okay, here is the error. So here, what will the logic? Greater than 5. All the numbers which is greater than 5. Can I write this? All the numbers which is greater than 5. So simple, right? Let's say I'm printing here result 4. So check the output of this one and this one, okay? The second and the third. 1 second. So the second one, I'm getting a binary number. And the third one, I'm getting 6 and 9. 6 and 9 is greater than 5. That's what I'm getting, okay? So this is how the questions will be asked to you and you have to answer in this manner, okay? So a lot of examples we have seen in our program. Let's now move to reduce and let's try to see what is reduce, okay? So let's come back. I am in the editor. I did not forget about it. Okay. And now let's try to do it for my reduce, okay? So how this reduce works. Now reduce is little bit tricky to understand. So please focus here. Reduce, why it is named as reduce? See, map, we have understood that it should map to each of the array element. Filter, because it wants only some of the elements from the array. Reduce means the whole array should be reduced to one particular result. So a whole array will give you only one result. So whenever in your question it will ask that I want an output which will give me only one result as a summation or as a something, then we will use reduce. Okay, so that is what is named as reduce. You're reducing the array to a single digit, or you're reducing the array to a single result. That's why it is named as reduce. Okay, so let me give you an example. Let's say that you want a sum of all the arrays. You want a sum of all the arrays. How you write a code? This is the array which I'm using. So I'm going to create just one function. Let's say a function, and let's say I'm going to just use this function as sum, and I'm going to use the array name here, right? In this, what I'm going to do, I'm just writing a normal simple sum code, sum equal to 0, because obviously at the first time sum will be 0, and then I'll keep on adding all the elements of the array inside the sum so that it keeps on adding. How I'm going to keep on adding? By using for loop. So I'm just going to use let I equal to 0, I is less than obviously array dot length, so that it reaches dot till the length of the array. And also I'm going to use I plus plus. Next I'm going to keep it here, and inside this I'm going to just add the sum to my array element. You can also do something like this, or you can also do something like this. So sum plus equal to array I. So each of the elements will get added to the sum, and now I have to return sum. So I'll just return sum here, and I'll just print here console.log. This I'm going to, once again, I have to call the function sum. So I'm going to put down sum, and the array which is gonna go here is array, right? So let's try to see what is the answer of this. Okay, I have how many numbers? 4 numbers, 6, 3, 9 and 4. The total should be how much? 22. And you can see here it is 22, right? It is 22. So I'm getting the sum of it. But have I used reduce anywhere? I have not used reduce anywhere, right? Why? Because I'm just trying to tell you that in an easy manner, in a simple manner, without using any of the predefined function, how can you give a sum of an array? This is a very easy example. Please do let me know if you've understood this particular example. Right? Now let's try to use reduce. Now please observe that what all things we need here. We need an array and we need one variable which will accumulate all the result inside itself, right? Again, I'm repeating, we need one array and we need one variable which will act as an accumulator, which will accumulate all its resultant value inside itself, right? So that's why when I'm using a reduce function will always have two parameters inside it. Okay, one is accumulator and one is current array. Okay, so current array and accumulator, these are the two things which your reduce should have. So map is not having any two parameters, filter do not have any two parameters, but reduce will have two parameters. Okay, so one is called as accumulator and one is called as current. Fine. Any doubts till now? One more thing you need to understand, that accumulator has been given a value, an initial value which is 0. Imagine that if it is not 0, then what's going to happen? You are not going to get the same result, right? Let's say that if I'm commenting this, correct? And if I save this, will you get the same result? You're not going to get the same result. You're going to get the reference error because sum का पहला value दिया ही नहीं है मैंने, sum का पहला value we have not given. So that's why sum को पहले एक value, initialized value देना है, right? And in the same way accumulator को भी एक पहला value देना पड़ेगा, right? So reduce function will have one more value which will be your 0 value. Okay, which will be 0 value. Fine. So this is how you're going to use reduce. Now let's try to write a particular code of reduce here, and let's try to see whether it is giving me the same output which my sum ka program is giving. Okay, so here I'm going to take again const, and I'm going to take here as result 6. Okay, and I'm just going to tell here array reduce, because it will take some of the elements. So let's say I'm going to pass here accumulator and current. Okay, now after this I'm going to write down the logic. So let's say accumulator plus, now because it's gonna, once again, yeah, the same way how I've written here, right? Sum plus equal to array I, same way I can do here. Sum is my accumulator and array is my cur. I can write something like this, just that. Okay, and then it should return what? It should return accumulator, and here it will have a initialized value, it will be 0. So this is the initialization value which I'm giving here. So please remember that a reduce will have three things. Reduce will have two parameters, which is one is accumulator and one is current array. And the another thing which also reduce will have is the initialized value of the accumulator, which is 0. Okay, and now let's do this semicolon, and now let's just print the console.log. Fine. So result 6, let's print this and let's check out whether I'm getting the output or not. So as you can see, this result I'm getting because of my normal program which I've written as a sum function, and this result I'm getting because I've used my reduce function. So I hope you understood how this is gonna work, right? So this both is gonna give me the same answer. This is what is reduce. So reduce, what it should do, it should reduce to one particular result, which is 22. So the whole array converts itself into a one result, correct? So this is one of the example which is giving me an explanation of how reduce works. I'm going to comment this and I'm going to write one more code for my finding the maximum value. If you want to find the maximum value from the array, so if I have the array, I want to find only the maximum value. Again, understand the maximum value will be only one. So the resultant of my program will be only one thing. So I will be using reduce, right? So that's what it's saying, na? Array should be reduced to one particular result. Maximum value is what here? Maximum value is 9 here. I'm getting only 9 as my result. So that program will also use reduce. It's very important to understand where you'll be using reduce, where you'll be using filter, where you'll be using map. These all things are very, very important for you to understand, okay? Now, can anybody tell me just quickly that how you can write a, how will write a max function? So let's say I'm writing a function max. Let's copy this because it's gonna be the same thing. It's just that some of the things I'll change. So let's copy this up. Let's comment it up. arr.reduce sum comma el sum plus el comma 0. Is it right? What is this el? So let's write down here. Once again, just going to mention here max. Array will be the same thing. Let's write down here max equal to 0. Array will be going through all of these, and here I'm going to put down max. But again, I'm not summing it up. So what I want to check which number is the greatest number, right? So if from the array any element is greater than max value, right, then what you have to do, make the max as array I. Okay, so max is 0, I is 0, 0 is less than 4, gonna be true. Array 0 is how much? Array 0 is 3. 3 is greater than 0. Yes, it is. So give the number 3 to max. So right now maximum value is 3. The iteration will again continue. I will become 1. Then array 1 is what? It's 6. 6 is greater than 3. Yes, it is. So max value will become 6 now. Then again it will go back. So now the next number is 9. 9 is greater than 6. Yes, it is. So max will become 9 now. Again it will go back. It will become 4. So 4 is greater than 9. No, it is not. So it's going to return max. Right? And it's gonna print it. So console.log max.array return max. Let's print it. So you can see here the output is giving me 9. This is the normal function to use. Let's now use the reduce part, right? Let's now convert this particular code into a reduce section. So I'm going to just change something in my previous code itself. I'm not going to repeat this. So here, first of all, I'm going to do some changes here, and I'm going to change this part, right? So here what you're going to do, here you're going to write the code for it. So you'll be writing if array, that's what you're writing, na? In the condition, if array is greater than max. What is max? Max is accumulator. If this is happening, then what should happen? Then your max, that means ACC is equal to cur. That's what you need, right? So this should give me the result. Let's save this and let's check out. So right now you can see again it's giving me 9. I'll give you some time, check out the code. I'm giving you some time, check out this code. See, if you write the normal logic, it'll be really easy for you to write this logic. And once you, in the first time when you're practicing map, filter and reduce, please write the normal logic. Keep an habit of writing the normal logic. And then once you have a habit of working with directly with the functions, then you're ready to go. So you'll have an understanding of normal logic as well as how to use the predefined functions as well, right? Any questions, any doubts, please do let me know. I hope this is understood. There's no confusion in this, right? I hope there's no confusion in this. Let's move to another part. So this accumulator name you can change, right? You can change the name of this accumulator to anything else. It's just a particular term which is given. You can name it as max also. It will give you the same output. Fine. So this is how we use map, filter and reduce, and this is what is the question which can be asked in a interview or on a basic basis. Okay. Now let's understand one more example of this. Okay. So let's say I have a list of person, okay, and these are just arrays. So I have a list of people name. Let's say first name. Let's say I'm putting here it as Ritwik, and let's say last name I have it as Raj, and the next thing I have it as marks. Let's say I'm keeping it as 56. Okay. In the same way, I'm going to create some more elements. Okay. Just creating some array elements. I think threes are enough. Okay. Now I don't have any particular array, something like this. Where is it? I don't have something like this. I have a bunch of array elements which is having key and value pairs, right? Now in this case, how it's gonna work? So let's say that I'm giving you one example. So let's say I want all the uh, persons first name and marks together. First name and marks together. So how I'm going to write it? First name and marks together, right? So how I'm going to do it? Let's say const result 8 is equal to person dot map. Here I'm going to use x, to which I'm going to give an arrow function, and to which if only one name is there, I'm going to put down, if only one line is there, I'm going to put down this plus space plus x dot marks. Isn't it? This is what should give me the answer, right? So let's do it. Right? X dot marks. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to console.log the output. So let's say console.log. Hi Lewis, welcome back. So console.log result 8 I have to write. I'm just going to put here 8. Let's save this and let's check out what is happening. See, I've written first name and marks, right? Did I mention that which all I want? I want all of them, and that what map does. That's what map does. Map does for each of the array element you want to map something. So I am taking each of the elements to map and put down the result with first name and marks. Have a look in the result. I am getting Ritwik 56, Jitendra 78, Amit 90. That's why I've used map, right? Now, in which case I'll be using a filter. Let's try to understand. Filter is what? You want to filter the output, right? You want to filter something from the array. So let's say from this array, I want to filter all those people whose marks is 90. Okay. I want to filter those people whose marks is 90. How are you going to write this code? So what you're going to do here is, or let's say, let's bring back this 78 itself. You want all the people marks whose score is greater than 70. Okay, whose score is greater than 70. How are you going to do this? Const result 9 equal to person dot filter x arrow function, and here I'm going to write x dot marks greater than 70, right? So greater than 70. This is what you'll be doing. Let's check out whether I'm getting the answer or not. Console.log result 9. Let's save this. Once again, anything is wrong. X dot marks greater than 70. Marks greater than 70. Okay, yeah. So have a look. What is the result? So can you look what is the result? The result was looking something like this. And I was in shock. What is happening? So if I click on this, I am getting those outputs. See, I'm not getting all the three arrays. I'm getting only those arrays who is having the marks rather than 70. Can you see? 78 and 90. I'm not getting the Ritwik Raj one, which is having the marks 56. I'm not getting that, right? But the problem here is I'm getting everything. I'm getting first name, last name, marks, everything, that whole array itself. And that's what filter does, right? It filters based on what command you have given. And the command which I have given is just said that I want those arrays, I want those elements who is having the marks greater than 70. And it is giving me. It is giving me the result in which the marks is greater than 70. But let's say I want only the names of those people who have scored more than 70 marks. I want only the names of those people who have scored more than 70 marks. In that case, what I have to do? I want only those names who have scored more than 70 marks. Again, from this array, understand, from this array, I want only those people name who have scored more than 70. So who have scored than 70, I got the names. I just need to fetch Jitender and Amit, isn't it? I need to just fetch Jitender and Amit, isn't it? So how can I fetch just Jitender and Amit? What I have to do? I have to use map. So let's come back to the code. And what I have to do here is, I need to just fetch Jitender and Amit, right? So let's do something. Let's write it down again here. And let's put down here 10. Let's put down here 10. And here after this x greater than 70, I'll put dot, I'll put map. Why I'm putting it after that? Because I already got the people, the person names and details whose marks is greater than 70. Now based on that array, I'm going to put down map. So in this map, what I'm going to put, let's say x, and to this I'm going to give an arrow function, and I'm going to say I just want its first name, nothing else. I just want the first name. I've given two things. I just want the first name. So if I first name, what is the spelling? If I save this, if I go back, you can see I'm getting only Jitendra and Amit. So if this kind of questions is asked, you can use both the functions together, okay? And that's how you can solve this problem. So what have I done? I first got the result where the person details are there who have scored more than 70. And now from that array, I mapped out only that element which I want to print. And that is Jitendra and Amit, right? So in this case, you'll be using filter and map together, right? Now, what I want you to do is, let's give you some more examples. So I can do this using reduce as well. How can I do this using reduce? Let's say const, let's say result, let's say 11. And here what I'm going to do, person dot reduce, and bracket I'm going to give here, because reduce is having two things in their properties. It will have accumulator and it will have current. So I'm going to use that. And then I'm going to give a arrow function, right? And in this arrow function, we will be writing the logic. So the logic is if from the array the marks is greater than 70, right? Take down that and push the first name of that person inside the accumulator. So inside the accumulator, I'm gonna push only its first name, right? And then I'm going to return accumulator because that is containing my result. Here I'm going to put down an empty element. 0 will not be there. It will have empty element because in the beginning, your accumulator, your ACC, we should be empty, right? In the beginning, your accumulator is an array, right? It will give you a bunch of elements. This output will give you two things, right? Jitendra and Amit. So Jitendra and Amit is not one value, it's two values. So it's gonna be a pair, right? And pairs are always put in inside a curly bracket. So that's why I'm not giving here 0. I'm giving a empty curly bracket so that in the beginning accumulator should be empty and in the end two first names should come here. That is Jitendra and Amit. So if I print this, okay, I'm getting one error. Something wrong? Wow. Yeah, so this is what I've done. Something is wrong here. Uncaught type error. acc.push account accumulator dot push is not a function. One second. Let's try this out. We can't use here push. Okay. So one second, let me remove this. We can't use push here. So try to find out the solution for this. We have using reduce. I hope this should work, but it is just saying this error. Have a look. It is saying ACC is not a function. I have written something wrong. ACC is accumulator. So we cannot push it there. Try to solve this. How we can do this? I thought this will work, but it's not working. The conditions are correct. The logic is also, I believe it's correct, but I don't know. We can't use because ACC is not a function. ACC is just a parameter. We cannot use push method with that. I don't know why. Just check it out and see how we can use reduce for this. Okay, I'm just going to keep a comment in this, right, and try to do this. So this is how your map and filter works. I hope you understood how map and filter works. Please find out the solution for the last one, right? For the last one, how to use reduce and do the same question, because this question can be asked in a way that, you know, how to write this up in a by using reduce. So please try to do that. I'm going to open my JavaScript interview questions part, right? And here I was talking about advanced questions, right? So let's try to do that. Call, apply, and bind we have already seen. So let's try to see what are the advanced questions, and then we are going to end this session. Fine. So now here, the advanced questions which can be asked here is about promises. One of the very important concept. This can be asked with async and await. What is that? this question will be asked to you in your advanced portions, okay? And then the next questions can be asked to you is about debouncing, throttling, and currying. These are some of the topics which can be asked to you in your JavaScript interview question. If it is a product-based company, these questions can be asked. With this, they can also ask you about prototypes and prototypal inheritance. So these are the things which will be asked to you, and I'm covering these all topics, these 6 topics, 5 topics in my next session, which is Advanced JavaScript Part 5. So don't worry about that. But all the other topics have been covered. This one and these two is going to get covered in the next advanced part of JS. So wait for that. Maybe by tomorrow I'll be able to cover these things as well, right? And so this was all about the JavaScript questions. I hope you got an idea. I will try to put down all these questions in the Telegram channel using a Google Drive, and we will share this everything with you. And I hope you got an idea what are the different questions. And I also hope that you understood how to use map, filter, and reduce in your JavaScript part. Okay. So yes, Lewis, if you have any questions, you can ask. And please join the Telegram channel. This Telegram channel will get you all the notifications about when a particular educator is coming live, at what time, with what topic. So all these updates will get in Telegram channel. Also, the Google Drive link will be shared in the Telegram channel. So please do join that. And please do subscribe to the YouTube channel, which is CodeBeyond, because more and more number of people will get to know about it. Also hit the notification bell so that you get an update and notifications in the YouTube app as well. Please like and share the sessions, because it will reach to maximum people, and they will be able to understand what is this, because these are all free course content, so it'll be really helpful for them as well, right? So thank you so much, guys. I'll meet you soon. I'll meet you around 3 or 4 p.m. with mixed projects again, and we are going to understand how different kinds of projects are created, because yesterday we did one mixed projects and we understood landing page, and we also understood some of the projects like counter and form validation. So today we are going to create sidebar, navigation bar, and full screen, and drag and drop, all those kind of projects. Okay, so please do join at 4 p.m. We are going to understand different mixed projects. Okay, so thank you so much, guys.